Greetings, my fellow masters, and welcome back once again to another Fate Strange Fake episode review. This is for Fate Strange Fake episode 6, and we have an alliance forming this week, which I'm excited to talk about. As per usual with this episode reviews, we will be recapping a bit of the episode and then just highlighting the bits and pieces that we enjoyed the most out of it. So yeah, Tony, where do you want to start? You want to just start with talking about the alliance itself?
Let's actually talk about. I should just drop right into character.
Okay.
I'm thinking this is the perfect episode to really explore the character dynamics between Richard and Ayaka, how very similar they are in their characterizations,
And how similar the relationship between Richard and Ayaka and Tina and Gil are as well.
Yeah.
Because like both of their masters kind of lack that self-confidence. Whereas Tina at least has a resolve, and Ayaka is just, of course, a kind of a unwitting victim.
Yeah.
Which is the main difference, but like they're very similar in that regard as well, which is why I think Gil is pleased that his friend partnered up with them. Which also was really good to see Enkidu again. We haven't really seen him since Whispers of Dawn, but it's good to see them. And also Best Master.
Yep. That doggo.
Which
Great wolf.
I like that the wolf instantly got along with Ayaka, because you know Ayaka doesn't have any hostile intent. And the fight we got, the little brief skirmish we got to see between Enkidu and Richard was awesome.
Yep. And it was like one of the most beautifully animated fights we've seen in this show. Like, all the fights in this show are beautifully animated.
Yep. And I also like how it was intercut with Dumas' kind of intel breakdown of what Richard can do and kind of his legend. And so we actually got to see, the Noble Phantasm we talked about previously showcased, where he can turn anything he touches and lays claim to into Excalibur. And it was pretty sick. We also got to see the Count of Saint Germain as well, which is really interesting.
Which, that guy, he was actually really damn funny, all things considered.
Yep.
We saw like weird trippy stuff happening when we were introduced to him, since it was introduced through a dream.
Yeah, so obviously operates by
stage production.
It did. It did.
Yeah, Richard and a few of the other knights in his entourage were like on horses, and then we have Saint Germain
just pulling up in a fucking an old school bug. Like,
yeah. What? Like, what the hell?
Holy anachronism, Batman. What's going on here? But yeah, overall that was really cool. And then of course we also see No Name Hassan show up, and then they have a talk, and they realize, okay, we all want to kill that fucking vampire. I'm down to kill the vampire.
Yep, and then we have another plot where Enkidu's like, yeah, there's another force out there that is kind of dangerous, and it's making me feel uneasy because of my connection with the Earth.
And of course they're referring to the Grail Mud that the mob enforcer guy whose name I can't remember off the top of my head.
Corleone.
Yeah, Corleone. Corleone, of course, used Grail Mud on Heracles to turn him into Avenger Alcides.
And then if that mud were to connect with
the Grail
Rider, it would cause nothing but catastrophe.
And let's also not forget, we already saw what Grail Mud connecting to the actual Fuyuki Grail did to Fuyuki, and Kiritsugu at least had the sense to destroy it before any of that happened, but still look at the catastrophe that happened there. Perlotti's not going to stop it. If it were to connect, they would just let it rock.
Yeah.
Because they're all about, the full Joker mentality, watch the world burn type shit. So,
Yep.
of course, Enkidu being an entity made directly of the Earth, and having that strong connection, like you said, does not want the Earth to go bye-bye. So, they are down to just make sure the planet doesn't get destroyed. So they form a tentative alliance. And then Sigma is also possibly going to join in on this. Because Sigma, is going on his own hero's journey. And what better way to, prove yourself as a hero than saving the fucking world?
And a third mission, I'm guessing, is to win the Grail War?
Yeah.
To stop other catastrophes from happening?
Yep. And, also Flat has a side mission just to investigate Pale Rider. And then, they get close enough and Flat's like, yeah, no, this is scary. We should get out of there, Mr. Jack.
Well, of course it's fucking scary.
It's a horseman of the apocalypse. Yeah.
You're dealing with a horseman of the apocalypse. What do you mean?
I mean, Flat doesn't know that, but yeah.
Yeah, Flat doesn't know that, but I'm guessing there are things Flat won't know that won't hurt him later, right?
And of course, speaking of the vampire, like Jester, which we were talking about earlier, we actually see Jester chilling in the little girl's hospital bed, like hospital room, doing his vampire things, hanging upside down like a creep. But yeah, overall, great episode. Good character, a good amount of character spotlight. Moves the plot is moving at a really good clip. I do like I like seeing the development between Saber and Ayaka, and kind of Richard understanding that she doesn't want to fight and still respecting her wishes, but of course, being the knight he is, taking responsibility and protecting her, which is why he forms this alliance. It also shows the type of king he is as opposed to Arturia, right? I don't know if you got this, but I definitely felt like a similar kind of vibe to the Three Kings banquet when they had that three servant meeting. But unlike with Arturia, who is more cold and aloof, Richard is much more magnanimous, He's very much welcoming and is able to bring people into the fold much better than Arturia is. Artoria's strength at bringing people into the fold is kind of being awe-inspiring and through example making people want to follow her. Whereas Richard is just a nice guy who actually talks to people and is like, hey, fight with me for this reason. You know what I mean? He's more of a negotiator.
Yeah. Yeah. He has a way of bringing people in.
And it's also reflected by his noble phantasm. He has that retinue of shadows that he uses the abilities from, which he talks about when he fights Enkidu. And apparently he also watched a bunch of kung fu flicks. Yeah, he mentioned Loxley, our boy Robin.
Yep.
One of the best low-star archers in FGO, which, by the way, speaking of FGO, if you guys do play, and you have not heard already, Richard the Lionheart has dropped early in FGO NA. So, I hope you saved your Saint Courts, ladies and gentlemen. Because that's probably going to be a good pull. I am way out of the loop. I haven't played FGO in years, but just knowing character lore and how hard they go for sabers, I'm sure he's going to be pretty cracked.
But to just kind of temper any expectations. He's not exactly the same Richard that we see here in Strange Fake. There are some similarities, but they're not exactly the same,
Yeah.
since the story itself is still ongoing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
I like that the characters that have the alliance are aligned with similar goals and aspirations,
Mm-hmm.
or they have similar thought processes.
Yep.
And I have to add, the flashbacks in this particular episode alone, stunning.
Oh yeah.
Gorgeous.
The quality of animation, it just seems like it keeps improving every week.
Oh, absolutely. But other than that, I have nothing else to say. So,
All
to
right.
our fellow Fate fans and fellow masters in any Grail War, we hope that you like the video, subscribe.
Do all the usual
Also-
YouTube things. Don't forget to hit the hype
Yeah.
button as well. The hype button is a brand new feature that we've talked about before. It does help out videos and put it into the algorithm, so hopefully it gets on the eyes of other masters out there. And thank you guys for all the support. Our Fate Strange Fake videos do really well on the channel, especially for a channel as small as ours, so we do appreciate the views. Definitely, don't be shy. Feel free to comment if you want to talk Fate and talk shop. We love talking Fate, so we will definitely respond. Feel
Oh,
free to
absolutely.
comment.
And if you get us going, we will talk your ears off. But that will be for another time, another place. But we would like you to tune in next week. We'll see you then. Peace.